explain to us here the Grooms and Farriers seminar, which takes place next week over 2 days. Going through the note I have here, I've seen the theme maintaining you and your horse. Outside of the fact that I like the play on the word maintaining.
I'm glad you do.
A holistic approach by the organizers of this seminar. Explain the thinking behind that for me.
I'm very glad that at first glance that is your perception of the theme, because that was really the intention. 3 things. Firstly, to really convey that we are trying to holistically assist grooms and farriers alike in their personal and professional life. We also wanted something that was very inclusive of the grooms and the farriers, which is why the name is, as it says, mane, as in the mane of a horse, taining you. So the JRC is very much considering how it can assist its licensees as they continue to provide excellent service to the industry.
It's over 2 days. First day is geared towards the seminar itself. Can you break down the contents, the agenda, what's planned for day 1?
So day 1 is really focused on the professional development of our licensees, or grooms and our farriers. And what we intend to present to them is content that is very topical, content that revolves around the rules of racing, best care practices from a veterinary perspective, as speaking to what grooms and farriers should be doing to care for horses, as well as looking at presentations from HART and the NCDA, the National Council on Drug Abuse, as the Racing Commission moves towards furthering its drug testing program and expounding on it from being just about horses and expanding to the testing of its licensees, which will begin with the staff of the Racing Commission. It's really intended to uplift, to educate, to provide what we are calling continuing education for our licensees, so that we can year to year or throughout each period continue to improve their knowledge and help them to really provide the best care that they can for the horses.
Can you go into some specifics in terms of the areas that will be touched on day 1?
So like I said, the National Council of Drug Abuse is going to be coming to speak to us about drug testing as a whole, what is allowed, what will be considered illegal or contraband, and building out of that. This is a sensitization session. We want to educate our attendees on really what is safe for them, because in a similar manner that we are not allowed to drink and drive or use our phones while we're driving, we are trying to ensure that we have safe practices as we are around these enormous and magnificent creatures. You know, they have the capacity to be able to unintentionally hurt us, and we need to make sure that all our faculties are intact so that we can protect ourselves and protect horses and protect anyone who is around them. So we are sensitizing our attendees and the public as to what we are considering is best practice. This is done in other jurisdictions, and as we are trying to come on par with that, this will be not the first, but one of the largest sensitization sessions that we'll be having. We will also be hearing from HART, who is working on a training program that we believe will be very helpful to our licensees, and they will tell us more about that on the day. The Stewards Department is going to speak to us about the racing rules, particularly the ones that are under review, the ones that we know need reinforcement as well. So for example, we have our protocols for race day in terms of who is allowed to arrive at LASIX with a horse, who is allowed to parade with a horse, making sure your licenses are valid and that the persons that are present are the ones that are declared to be present in all of the sterile areas. We'll also have the vet department doing a presentation, which similarly, we're thinking about safety of horses and safety of people. So how can we provide better safety? In particular, we're looking at horses that would be walking on the road to the sea. We know it's a very dangerous activity that can happen, especially when it's happening when there's low lighting, so the early morning, late at night. And we want to provide guidelines for what we think is going to be best practice for you out there with your horses, you know, to be able to train your horses and come back safely.
Day one takes place at the Jamaica Conference Center, downtown Kingston, and it's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I've seen where it says that for day one, it will be specially invited grooms and farriers. How do you go about selecting those people?
So the grooms and farriers, much like they were selected for first installment last year, would be persons who must have a valid license with the Racing Commission during the license period. And they would be persons that the presidents of the associations would have offered interest forms to. Their trainers would have given them permission to be present because we would be taking them away from their routine duties at the racetrack. And that's pretty much it. This year in particular, we are giving preference to those who have not attended last year's seminar. And if there are spaces that are still available, then we will take interested parties.
And what number are you looking at?
Our target was to reach about 100 grooms and farriers, knowing that we will have to be sticking to our budget and that we want to provide the best quality for everyone.
Okay, day two takes place here at Caymanas, and again during the same time frame, 10 to 4 p.m. But that's open to all on-site
Correct.
workers. Tell us about day two and what the care of the person, all of that is all about.
So day two is really an expansion on what we want to be able to offer the licensees. Last year we only had a one-day event, which was a seminar, which was at Caymanas Golf Club. And this year we have assessed the needs coming out of last year's seminar in terms of the healthcare problems that may be affecting persons, why they may have challenges with licensing or making payments. And out of that we realized that there are some very fundamental challenges that our licensees have, and it's not made any easier by the fact that working at the racetrack is really a 24/7 job. So we decided to bring the services to our licensees, which is why it is open to everyone. Although specially invited grooms and farriers would attend on day one, day two, being located in the trainers parking lot at Caymanas Racetrack, is going to be open to anybody who is here. And we intend to have the Ministry of Health come to do their health screenings as they did last year. We'll also have the National Health Fund, who will be here assisting in the applications for the National Health Fund card, which will give persons access to those very essential drugs that we realized would be necessary to treat the conditions that we found were very prevalent from last year's seminar. We're also going to have the PICA available. We will have the electoral office available. And we're really trying to ensure that our licensees, those in attendance, can have access to those very national and essential documents that we really all should have. Passports, for example, so that we can also facilitate, like I said, we're looking at their holistic development. So we did professional development on day one, and day two is about the personal. We're trying to ensure that they are able to live a full life outside of their career with us at the racetrack.
In closing, Doc, how excited is the JRC in terms of putting this all together for the benefit of the racing, that particular set of racing stakeholders?
Well, the committee has been working very hard over the last few months. It's been a very energized committee. Coming out of last year's seminar, we saw where there were significant benefits to really having that one-on-one connection with the grooms, especially through our panel discussion, which was open for them to speak to any of the stakeholders that we had invited, which we have re-invited for this year. And we were able to see where we could improve on those things. And I can tell you personally, the grooms on the ground will ask me when the next one is. They've been asking for quite some time. Unfortunately, those who attended the first time don't get preference, but they are excited to attend. And even those who weren't able to attend last year, who are hearing about it, are excited, and they feel very comforted that the commission wants to support them. They're open to learning, and we're very much looking forward to having a successful event. For those of you who were not aware of the seminar, please look out in your track and pools over the weekend. The notice will be printed, and you are all welcome to attend on day 2, which is October 15th, right here at the racetrack in the trainers parking lot. And we look forward to having you.
Thank you for watching another video produced by the team from QuickGallopJaya.com and its YouTube channel, The Quick Galloper. Please stay on the channel for other enlightening videos on those involved in local horse racing. Please like, subscribe, and press the notification bell.